Culture as Ambassador, European Art in Beijing. We'll be talking to the Director General of the National Museums in Berlin, Michael Eissenhauer.
The Art of Enlightenment exhibition is opening in early April at Beijing's new National Museum on Tiananmen Square. It's a cultural high point and major political event. The show is being presented by three of Germany's top national art museums: Berlin, Dresden and Munich. Michael Eissenhauer, you are Director General of the National Museums in Berlin. Are you looking to impart Western values to the Chinese?
This is first and foremost about art. This is an exhibition that focuses on a certain era's cultural records and what three of Germany's major museums, perhaps Germany's largest art collections, can put on display. The main idea behind the show didn't just come out of nowhere. This isn't just something that three German museums dreamed up before packing their suitcases, traveling to China, and offering it to the Chinese. This became a project that grew out of a 10-year-old collaboration among these three museums. And after many years of getting to know each other and working with each other, we then started to think about staging a joint exhibition to mark the opening of the Chinese National Museum, which has been renovated by the German architectural firm GMP from Hamburg to develop a project that fits this event. In conversations with our Chinese partners, we developed a theme that was based upon three basic lines of thought. First, the exhibition was meant to be genuinely European, Central European, German. It was to address a theme that the three museums could put on using their own collections without needing to borrow works. And it was supposed to address a theme that the Chinese could relate to. We don't remember who first had the idea, but someone suggested that the Enlightenment would be a fitting subject, and that was that.
China is a country that believes in the future, solidly rooted in the 21st century. Why would the Chinese be interested in 17th and 18th century European debates?
Firstly, they're interested in European culture. What's interesting, and I just found out about this, is that the Enlightenment, the European Enlightenment, is part of the Chinese curriculum. It's not alien to Chinese education, but people talk about it and teach it. Whether it's Kant, Rousseau, Goethe, Lessing, or Schiller, literature from the European Enlightenment is part of higher education. And not just for students of philosophy or German. It's a topic that shows up throughout the curriculum. What's interesting about this issue is that the Chinese people have no idea that the themes that developed in the Enlightenment and that gradually became reality then showed up in European art. We're trying to show an enlightenment of guiding themes, ones which people then tackled. In art, the way artists dealt with the subjects of their paintings, from portraits through to their understanding of nature, and the way representation changed and how one can read themes from art.
You're talking about these themes. On the one hand, we have science, reason and progress. And on the other side, we have human rights, the role of the individual, and individual freedom, potentially explosive issues in China. You said that you don't want this exhibition to be politicized. But do you think that you'll get around this human rights debate in a country where a Nobel Peace Laureate is in jail?
I've said that this exhibition was the product of a long process. No one could have known what kind of relevance the exhibition would have 5 years down the line from the moment the idea was born. Our aim was not in some way to attach a political message. Rather, we wanted to focus on a cultural, art-historical theme, one which we could do an excellent job on, given our holdings. And it's a theme that can be allied with Chinese learning, and one for which there's a great deal of interest in China. Both cultures learned from each other. In 18th century Europe, there was a great interest in China. It still exists, and is closely related to this curiosity after the Enlightenment. The Chinese were interested in what the Europeans had developed in terms of societal models. The array of issues tackled by the Enlightenment is a hugely broad one. The Enlightenment did not just come about with the storming of the Bastille and subsequently set in stone. There were themes that were first hatched during the Enlightenment, which are hugely important for art, like the understanding of genius, an entirely new conception of history, of feeling and sensibility, of what science means for people living together in a society. And Enlightenment also means reflecting on the role of the individual in a changing society. I believe that's the decisive and salient point that interests China. It's about dealing with the question of how processes of creating the future might be shaped in a society, with the respect that an individual has to find their place in society.
The exhibition is also being accompanied by a program of academic exchange and lots more besides. It's also the first show in the newly opened National Museum, the world's biggest. It's a big honor to have German partners for such an exhibition, on top of the remodeling of the space by German architects. Where does this trust in the Germans come from? Is it coincidence or intention?
There was major competition with other prominent global museums, and it was then the Chinese took the decision for the German model of cooperation with our 3 major museums. Naturally, it has something to do with the trust we have built up over many years, and it is also the way the future is looking. This exhibition will not just open and then close. It's more of a station along the road. Of course, it is the highlight of things so far, but still just a station along the road of further collaboration with China and its museums. That has major importance for us in Berlin, with our Museum for Asian Art and for the research projects connected with large parts of our collection.
The exhibition is also highly pitched on the political level. Chinese President Hu Jintao is the patron, along with German President Christian Wulff. Do you feel that you are a sort of cultural diplomat?
I believe that cultural exchange always has something to do with diplomacy. In as far as diplomacy has the job of deepening and developing understanding among nations, but also to the extent that culture crosses borders and is always concerned with diplomacy, coming closer together and increasing understanding among nations. So yes, I'm a cultural diplomat.
Can culture achieve things politics can't?
That is what I understand, and I believe there are many examples of this. I think that culture can find access to the human soul, and also to the understanding and sympathy of the individual, in order to develop curiosity for the new.
Let's see then. The exhibition is showing until next year in Beijing. Michael Eissenhauer, thank you for talking to us.
You're welcome.